This is Milan Vaishnav. I welcome you to Expiry Day Setup. It's wonderful as always to connect with you all here, and we are once again heading into the Expiry Day tomorrow. And what a wonderful week it has been so far. We have had a short week as Friday was a trading holiday on account of Independence Day. And then market really gave a huge thumbs up to the Prime Minister's speech, which outlined all the reforms and more importantly, the scale of expectation that has been built, that he built around the GST reforms that are expected to come in by Diwali. So in the process of giving a huge thumbs up, the market opened quite high, or rather with a good amount of gap up on Monday, sustained those gains for the most part of the day, and also built up and extended the gains on the second and third day of the week, that is today. So all 3 days of the week have been with gains. Now I'm here once again to pick up from where I left last time. We will take a look on how the markets are stacked and what levels we need to watch out for, and what kind of expiry we can expect tomorrow, options expiry we can expect tomorrow, where can the index be where could the index be going, and we will take a look on certain important sectors and its components that we need to keep an eye on. So I'll first begin with talking about Nifty and examining its technical setup. And then we'll take a walk through on the options data as well. We'll try and kind of make sense where the markets are headed, where they are taking us, and what we can expect from the markets and what does the options data is indicating. So let me share my screen and talk about it. Now, before I talk anything about the index and anything about the options data, I would like to reiterate, I always repeat saying this, that options data is a coincident indicator. It shows you what the state of affairs are at this point in time. It does not lag, it does not lead, but it gives you a good insight on how the markets are stacked up and what market participants are behaving as of now, or what they are intending as of now. So that being said, I will first walk you through the Nifty daily chart. This is where we are. Markets have basically, there is one important thing about the gap that I need to tell you, or about, I was going to discuss about this gap. Beginning 15th of May, Nifty has created this trading range, that is with the lower edge coming in at 24,500 here, and the upper edge lying somewhere in the zone of 25,050 to 25,150. So this was a 650 point trading range that the Nifty had created for itself. Point number one. There was a breakout in the last week of June, where the markets did form incremental highs, but eventually came back inside that range. Now, important thing from technical perspective is that markets even mildly violated the 24,500 level, but bounced above that once again. So the broader point that I'm trying to drive home, एक broad चीज ये मैं बताना चाहता हूँ कि मार्केट, ये जो ब्रेकडाउन हुआ उसको हम नजरअंदाज कर दें, और ये जो ब्रेकआउट हुआ उसको नजरअंदाज कर दें। नजरअंदाज इसलिए करें कि ना ही ब्रेकआउट के बाद ऊपर गई मार्केट, ना ही ब्रेकडाउन के बाद नीचे गई, वापस रेंज में आ गई है। सो वी कैन सर्टेनली से दैट सिंस द मिडल ऑफ द वे May, markets have been trading in this 600 point trading range, and even today it continues to do so. That is point one. Another important point I need to drive home is that we had a massive gap up, not massive gap up, but decent enough, strong gap up opening on Monday. But importantly, while we run after gaps, we need to know that this is an area gap. area gap is the gap that is created within a formation. तो मार्केट ये रेक्टेंगल फॉर्मेशन में है, ट्रेडिंग रेंज में है, उसके बीच में ये गैप हुआ है, which is not material. So we have to disregard this gap and not chase the market just because there was a gap up and it has been sustained. Now, only thing that we need to now focus is on two things. Number one, that the lower edge of the support is a confluence area of 100 DMA as well as the pattern support of 24,500. 100 DMA is at 24,600. And on the upper side, today we have crossed above 50 DMA, which is placed at 25,014. So what I'm trying to drive home point is that कहना ये चाहता हूं कि अभी भी मार्केट 24,500 से लेके 24,150 तक की ब्रॉड जो 650 पॉइंट की जो रेंज है उसी में है, मार्केट कहीं गया नहीं है। जैसे नीचे नहीं आया है वैसे ऊपर भी नहीं आया है, तो हम इसके पीछे भागने के बदले हमें मार्केट्स के ब्रॉडर टेक्निकल्स को थोड़ा सा समझ के हमें एक्सपायरी में जाना है। सो नाउ इफ आई वॉक यू थ्रू द ऑप्शंस डेटा, दिस इज द इंट्राडे एक्टिविटी दैट वी सो गुड अमाउंट ऑफ we saw good amount of incremental puts being written at 24,900, 950, 25,000. Some unwinding of calls have also happened at 25,000, and some addition has been done at 25,100. Now, if we take the look at the overall open interest here, there is a structural change that is now being seen. First, we had in the beginning of the week, we had 24,900 as the place where there was a maximum buildup of the put OI. मतलब ये था कि वहां पे सपोर्ट आ रहा था। अभी मार्केट ने अपना सपोर्ट लेवल ड्रैग किया है और अभी 25,000 लेवल्स ऐसी है जहां पे मैक्सिमम पुट ओआई है, और 25,000 और 24,900 के बीच में काफी निग्लिजिबल अमाउंट में ये कॉल ओपन इंटरेस्ट है और उसमें भी अनवाइंडिंग हुआ है आज। तो मेरा ये मानना है कि ज्यादातर कल अगर कुछ भी होता है, मान लीजिए थोड़ा बहुत करेक्शन आता है, इधर उधर होता है, तब भी 24,900 के नीचे मार्केट एक्सपायर नहीं होनी चाहिए। इसके आगे सिर्फ एक ही कैवेट है कि 24,900 के नीचे जाने की तभी गुंजाइश है जब भी ओवरनाइट कोई इतना बड़ा बैड न्यूज आता है कि मार्केट गैप डाउन ही ओपन कर ले, लेकिन जिसकी आने की अगेन कोई गुंजाइश है नहीं। तो एज ऑफ नाउ आई फील दैट 24,900 विल कंटिन्यू टू स्टे protected even there is some minor corrective action in the market. On the other hand, we have 25,100 now, which is acting as a potential resistance because there is maximum open interest of calls here. Second highest open interest of call, highest is at 25,500, but we will take this second highest level क्योंकि 25,100 के ऊपर प्रैक्टिकली कोई पुट ओआई एग्जिस्टेंस में नहीं है। तो कहने का मतलब क्या है कि ऑल थिंग्स रिमेनिंग सेम एज ऑफ नाउ, चांसेस है कि मार्केट्स कल ऊपर में 25,100 और नीचे में 24,900 ये 200 पॉइंट में ऑक्सीलेट करे और मेजर ट्रेंडिंग मूव ना आए। मेजर ट्रेंडिंग मूव तभी आएगा जब मार्केट 24,150 के ऊपर निकल जाता है या फिर 24,900 को वायोलेट करता है। ये दोनों में से कुछ एक नहीं होता है तो we will continue seeing the markets trading in the range of 24,100, 150 on the higher side and 850 to 900 on the lower side. Now, these levels are the same levels that even the charts are showing. It is also showing 24,100 as a potential pattern resistance for Nifty, and therefore until and unless 24,150 is not taken out on the upside, ये ज्यादा जरूरी बनता है कि मार्केट के पीछे दौड़ने के बदले जो हमारे एग्जिस्टिंग पोजीशंस है, जहां जहां भी प्रॉफिट है उसको हम प्रोटेक्ट करें और नई पोजीशन थोड़ी सेक्टर स्पेसिफिक या स्टॉक स्पेसिफिक ले, ना कि हम पूरा किसी भी चीज को ब्लाइंड चेस करें। और एट द सेम टाइम मैं आपको ये भी बता दूं कि अगर कोई मेजर नेगेटिव फैक्टर नहीं आ रहा है देन मेरा ये एक्सपेक्टेशन है कि मार्केट्स अल्टीमेटली 25, 100, 150 के ऊपर निकल जाएगी। सो अनलेस देयर इज अ मेजर नेगेटिव टू डील विद, आई डोंट एक्सपेक्ट एनी सिग्निफिकेंट वीकनेस इन द मार्केट गोइंग इनटू एक्सपायरी टुमारो। सो ये पूरा मेरा मार्केट का सेटअप जो है वो मेरे हिसाब से बन रहा है। वीक में अभी 3 दिन गए हैं एंड वी आर सीइंग द मार्केट्स अप बाय 1.70%, और it has its immediate resistance on the higher time frame charts around 25,150 to 200. So these are the levels जो कि options data भी इसको corroborate कर रहा है कि ये resistance है. So rather than chasing the market, running here and there without any calculation, we have to keep an eye on two things: Nifty's ability to pass above 25,100 150 and its ability to sustain 24,850 900 on the lower side. तो कल के सेशन में मुझे ये ज्यादातर ये 200 पॉइंट की रेंज मुझे आती हुई दिख रही है. और अनलेस, जैसे कि मैंने बताया, मैं आपको रिपीट करके बता रहा हूं कि अनलेस देयर आर नो मेजर नेगेटिव्स टू डील विथ, आई फील दैट निफ्टी विल इवेंचुअली मूव अबाउट 25,100. Now, let me pick up and talk about some sectors that we had talked about in our last interaction. And let me begin from there. We had talked about Nifty Auto. I had mentioned that Nifty Auto is expecting a breakout. And this week, precisely, it has happened that way. We have seen a huge breakout in Nifty Auto Index. And this has happened much on the expected lines. मैंने बहुत ही explicitly बताया था आपको कि शायद ऑटो में मूवमेंट आने की गुंजाइश है. तो हमने देखे कि जो स्टॉक्स टेक्निकली रेजिलियंट थे, जैसे कि टीवीएस मोटर्स है, महिंद्रा एंड महिंद्रा है, वो सारों ने एडवांस किया है. दे हैव एडवांस्ड हायर. बट द स्टॉक्स दैट वर अंडर गुड कंसोलिडेशन एंड नॉट डूइंग वेल, लाइक मारुति, लाइक टाटा मोटर्स also, the stocks like Maruti has given a breakout, so like Escorts, and the stocks like Tata Motors that were lagging the markets, they have also tried to improve their performance going ahead. So this Nifty Auto has now rolled inside the leading quadrant of the RRG. When I say leading quadrant of the RRG, उसका मतलब ये होता है कि जो भी सेक्टर या स्टॉक लीडिंग क्वार्टर में होता है वो अपने बेंचमार्क से, और हमारे किस्से में निफ्टी 500 इज द बेंचमार्क. तो निफ्टी ब्रॉडर मार्केट से वो चीज रिलेटिवली आउट परफॉर्म कर सकती है, और ये ऑटो सेक्टर में आउट परफॉर्मेंस अभी कंटिन्यू होने के पूरे चांसेस है. सो लास्ट टाइम जो मैंने कहा था कि आप निफ्टी ऑटो स्पेस पे थोड़ा सा फोकस करें, दैट हैज पेड ऑफ. And I expect that regardless of some minor consolidations or correction here and there, I expect that Nifty auto space will continue to do well. Now, another thing that we need to now keep an eye on is the Nifty IT pack. Nifty IT has been relatively underperforming over the past many days, but I would like to pinpoint one thing is that it had already started to relatively outperform the broader markets on a small basis. उसमें जो relative momentum हम जिसे कहते हैं, उसमें improvement आना शुरू हो गया था. And today, if you see the IT pack, many of the major components have started to move higher. Importantly, जो भी IT space के जो leading stocks थे, इंडेक्स में जो लीडिंग स्टॉक्स है, उसमें अगर आप लोगों ने देखा होगा कि डाउन ट्रेंड आ रहा था मार्केट्स में, बट द लोज वेर नॉट बीइंग सस्टेन्ड. And every time after forming a intraday low, the markets or the IT stocks were rebounding from their lower levels. So the incremental losses were very small. And today, beginning this week, the IT space has shown first clear signal that there are chances that the downsides or the underperformance in Nifty IT may come to an end. So IT space is now something that we all need to focus. And importantly, on the weekly charts, Nifty IT has rebounded off once again for the second time in last 3 weeks. Third time in last 3 weeks, it has rebounded off its 200-week moving average. After sustained 5 weeks of decline, 200-week moving average has come into play, and that was the point where the IT index took support for 2 weeks, And then today, I mean, by today, I mean in this week, it has ultimately rebounded off its 200 week moving average. 200 week moving average is very important. Violation of it would have had very bad implications, and therefore the defending of that level has also got its own significance. So we need to keep an eye on um, IT index as well. Now, second thing I would like to draw your attention is that even on the daily chart, some good amount of bullish divergence was observed on IT index, where IT index was forming lower lows, but RSI had started to form higher highs, higher lows. While the price made a new low, the RSI did not, and in fact, it formed higher lows. So trying to drive home a point is that the index is in a strong activity of a base formation, and IT space is giving us an opportunity to enter at attractive prices for, and it is likely to give some good returns over the coming days and weeks. So that is one thing. Now, another sector that I need to draw your attention is FMCG space. If we look at FMCG index on relative rotation graph, it is positioned in the lagging quadrant of the RRJ. And when anything is positioned in the lagging quadrant, वो ज्यादातर मार्केट से अंडर परफॉर्म ही करता है. लेकिन सिर्फ लैगिंग क्वाड्रेंट में रहना इंपॉर्टेंट नहीं है, इसमें आपको टेल का ट्रेजेक्टरी भी देखना चाहिए. एंड इफ यू लुक एट द ट्रेजेक्टरी ऑफ द एफएमसीजी इंडेक्स, देन it is showing a sharp improvement in its relative momentum despite being in the lagging quadrant. So what I feel that Nifty FMCG index is attempting to break out, and it is likely that we might see this space doing well as doing good as well. If you take a look at that chart, this is the daily chart, and Nifty FMCG index has broken out from a minor consolidation from a symmetrical triangle. Now, one thing I would say that a reversal had already been attempted between the month of March and April. And whenever a symmetrical triangle is formed, it's a neutral triangle, and it generally results in and ends up acting as a continuation pattern. तो continuation pattern के हिसाब से भी अगर ये देखा जाए तो ये जब से ये टेक्निकल रिबाउंड ही हुआ था और बाद में जो भी ये सिमेट्रिकल ट्रायंगल हुआ है, देयर आर चांसेस दैट इट विल नाउ रिजॉल्व ऑन द अपसाइड, एंड वी कैन सी at least 2, 3, 4% of gains in this FMCG space, FMCG index, by the time it consolidates again. So we need to keep an eye on key FMCG components as well. Somebody from the comments, Vinayak Bakshi ji, कल ऑटो सेक्टर चलेगा. चलेगा, मैं कल की बात नहीं कर रहा हूं, लेकिन आने वाले दिनों में, जिसमें कल भी इंक्लूड है ऑफ कोर्स, ऑटो सेक्टर शुड परफॉर्म वेल. लेकिन इसमें इतना 3 दिन में जितना राइज आया है उसके हिसाब से अगर थोड़ा बहुत कंसोलिडेशन या रिट्रेसमेंट होता है तो ये परफेक्टली नॉर्मल है. इसमें कोई मतलब इसमें कोई ताजुब नहीं होगा अगर थोड़ा बहुत भी इसमें अगर रिट्रेसमेंट आता है तो. एंड दिस प्रकाश जी इज आस्किंग फॉर निफ्टी एनर्जी. Nifty Energy, it will still take some time. It will continue to consolidate a bit, but we can expect some key heavyweights within this energy to start doing well. And by and large, I don't expect Nifty Energy to immediately perform, but it is slowly building up its base here. And I see that maybe in this week or maybe a week after that, we can see Nifty Energy Index starting to do well as well. But that overall energy index may not do well, but certain components from that space are likely to do quite well. That is what I feel. Another sector that I need to talk about is realty. Uh, प्रकाश जी, माफी चाहूंगा, मैं कोई स्टॉक या कमोडिटी स्पेसिफिक तो बात ये प्लेटफॉर्म पे नहीं कर सकता, लेकिन जहां तक कमोडिटीज का सवाल है, प्रेशियस मेटल्स है, दे आर ऑल लाइकली टू डू वेल। और इसका रीजन है कि एक तो गोल्ड काफी कंसोलिडेशन में था डेली चार्ट पे, और जिसमें अपर ब्रेकआउट के चांसेस मुझे लगते हैं। बट उसके अलावा अगर हम मैक्रो इकोनॉमिक चीजों की बात करें, I expect that September there are mild chances of the Fed initiating a rate cut, and that will overall keep the dollar index under some check and pressure. And I'll not say weaker dollar index, but a dollar index which is not rising at least is good for both gold and silver. Um, Coming to realty space, this is another sector that we need to keep in mind over the coming days. We have seen that there was a major base formation between February and May in the realty space, and beginning April and in May, the sector staged a very good rally. But after that, over the past, say, 4 to 5 weeks, 6 weeks, it's not doing well, and it has seen some corrective retracement. However, on the weekly charts, there is a major coiling formation that is seen, and putting uh, that is putting this realty space in a wonderful situation that, given the kind of symmetrical triangle, it's not a classical symmetrical triangle, but given the kind of symmetrical triangle that the realty space has formed, the weakness in realty space might be um, the coming days might see this thing, realty space accumulating or realty stocks not doing well. But this time, in the coming days, is giving us an excellent opportunity to re-enter realty stocks at lower levels. So in the coming weeks and days, along with auto, along with IT and FMCG, I also see realty space starting to do well again. But this comes with a caveat that the realty index should stay above 855. Right now, it's at 913. If the realty index comes down to 850 and lower, 860, 850 and lower, then this entire base, or then and this entire technical reading will not come into play. So this is what we are stacked up. One thing is certain, that markets are not going anywhere regardless of the gap up that we saw. And even if we see 200, 300 point gap down, even then nothing is going to happen, because as long as the markets are between 25,150 and 24,500, no gap up or gap down will drive the market in any direction. टेक वन थिंग होम दैट गैप के पीछे नहीं दौड़ना है, लेकिन एक ब्रॉडर लेवल जो है वो हमें दिमाग में रखनी है, दैट इज जहां तक 24,150 के ऊपर जब तक इंडेक्स नहीं जाता है निफ्टी, तब तक कोई ट्रेंडिंग या हाथ से छूट जाने वाला अप मूव कोई होगा नहीं। भले ही 100 पॉइंट ऊपर खुले मार्केट, या अभी सोमवार को 300 पॉइंट ऊपर खुली थी, जो भी हो। और उसी तरीके से सेम ब्रेथ, जब तक 24,500 का लेवल वायोलेट नहीं होता है ओवरऑल, तब तक मार्केट हमें छोड़ के कहीं नीचे भाग के टूट के जाएगा नहीं। तो जब तक ये 650 पॉइंट के बीच में निफ्टी है, आई एम नॉट सीइंग एनी काइंड ऑफ ट्रेंडिंग मूव्स टेकिंग प्लेस। दैट इज पॉइंट वन। पॉइंट नंबर टू ये है कि there are less chances of anything major negative coming up. So eventually, I feel that if all things remaining the way they are, and if all things continue to happen the way they are expected, I expect that eventually Nifty will move past 25,150 levels and start trending higher. So we should not be shorting the market, even if we see 100 and 100, 150, 200 points of downside. That will still keep the markets in the range, and therefore we have to approach the markets keeping these broad levels in view. Um, विनायक बख्शी जी मुझे एक स्टॉक स्पेसिफिक क्वेरी पूछ रहे हैं अरविंद की. आई एम सो सॉरी सर, आई वॉन्ट बी एबल टू कमेंट ऑन एनी स्टॉक स्पेसिफिक नेम. And however, with Sanjay Kumar ji's comment view on textile sector, I can certainly say that be extremely stock specific. Aggressively buying mat kijiye. Textile is an affected sector because of tariff, but as long as my common sense goes, come August 27, I don't see this 50% nonsense getting actually implemented. And लेकिन हमारे सिर्फ हमारे ये टैरिफ का इशू नहीं है. टैरिफ का कॉम्पिटिटिवनेस में भी इशू है. टेक्सटाइल काफी ज्यादा टेक्सटाइल वियतनाम से जा रहा है, बांग्लादेश से जा रहा है. दोज कंट्रीज आर ऑलरेडी एंजॉइंग मच लोअर टैरिफ. सो इवन इफ दिस 50% doesn't get affected, implemented, we are still saddled with 25% tariff, which is higher uh, than the countries like I think Cambodia, Vietnam, Bangladesh, who are also major textile suppliers. So textile sector, in my opinion, is likely to stay weak and subdued. So I don't think we should be getting so much aggressive on that unless the fog gets totally cleared out, which I think will take some time. So, with this, I think it's time that I wrap up my session. This is how the markets are stacked up today. I just have one suggestion to make. Keep your mind in place when everyone else is losing theirs. कुछ भी मार्केट्स में अगर ब्रॉडर लेवल्स अगर हम दिमाग में रख के मार्केट्स को अप्रोच करते हैं, देयर इज नथिंग दैट वी कैन नॉट foresee or handle or tackle. So this is what I expect. I don't expect that for tomorrow 24,900 will get violated unless there is something very major negative to deal with. And I also don't expect 25,100 will be taken out, but eventually I feel that in absence of any negative news, markets are on track to consolidate a bit, to retrace a bit here or there, 50, 100, 150 odd points here or there. But eventually I expect that the markets will take out 25, 150 and trend higher. But regardless of everything, my suggestion would be to keep a close eye on continued performance of auto sector and some good opportunities springing up from realty, FMCG, and IT. So with that, आप सबसे इजाजत चाहूंगा. It was very wonderful talking to you all, and I hope to connect with you all next week. Have a wonderful trading day and a wonderful weekend ahead. Thank you very much for joining us.